All right, let's bring her in. You first saw her on Ben Flanagan's season of The Bachelor. She has been on this podcast numerous times, but this is the first time that she has been on the weekly Thursday since I started video. So let's bring her in. It is Courtney Robertson. Courtney.
Hi. This is like so new for me to be on camera.
I know. How about that?
Look at you go, Steve.
So this is airing on Thanksgiving, and this is going to be kind of, a little lighthearted podcast. There's really not a hell of a lot of tea, especially in the off season now. Like nothing's going on.
Crickets.
But we do have some pop culture stories to talk about. But there's two things that I want to cover first before we even jump into anything TV related. Number one, since this is airing on Thanksgiving, this brings me back to, and probably you as well, it will bring you back to Thanksgiving of 2011, where you and Ben Flanagan snuck in behind ABC's back a special Thanksgiving dinner. I want you to walk people, because people that have heard you on the podcast before, you've told this story, but I want to tell it again since it's relevant to today being Thanksgiving Day. Tell people exactly what happened, because you had just basically wrapped up filming in Switzerland. You're engaged to Ben, and you're home, obviously, for the holidays. And Ben just happened, being a graduate of University of Arizona, I believe he was back in town that weekend for his college reunion, and you guys planned a secret meetup behind ABC's back. Tell everybody about it.
Oh, yeah. So we flew back from Switzerland, and then Thanksgiving was a few days later. And I think, I don't even know if I stayed in LA long. I won't bore you with the travel details, but so he was going to I think it was his 10-year.
Oh, was it high school reunion or college? Right?
It was his high school reunion. And I want to say, no, it was his 10-year. And because I had mine like a year later after we broke up, and I went by myself, which was a whole other story. That was wild. But yeah, so we weren't allowed to meet up. I had to change his name in my phone, and I knew he was going to be in Arizona. I was going to be there for Thanksgiving. So yeah, we scheduled we picked him up from the airport. He like laid flat in the car. Like he was like so worried about getting busted. My dad like drove into the garage, lowered the garage. We had the blinds shut the whole time, but we had Thanksgiving together, at my mom and dad's house. And he had been there for hometowns, but it was kind of the worst Thanksgiving ever, to be honest.
Why?
I was like so excited to see my family, but we were so paranoid about getting caught. And he actually had scotch with him. And we stayed at my sister's house one night, and he was like, "You can't walk the dog outside." And my sister and brother-in-law are like, "Why? Like, nobody's going to really recognize your dog, right?" But, and then my mom forgot to turn the oven on. Wah, wah. So we went to sit down for dinner. My mom's so stressed. She's like, "This whole thing just happened, and the turkey didn't cook." But yeah,
So you just had sides for Thanksgiving dinner?
No, she put that thing on blast. It was done in like 2 hours, and everybody was starving. And it was like the Clark Griswold, like when you go to cut the turkey.
It was so dry.
It was so dry. It just like exploded. And I think that weekend was the first time that like I got to see him like relax. I got to meet some of his friends. So we drove him when he had to go down to his reunion, and I met a lot of his friends. They were actually living in a house that he owned. For a while. He sold it. Long story short, I met like his college friends, and I kind of was the first time that I was like, wow, this seems like a little bit bro-y,
Well, that's
a little bit like frat guys,
I'm trying to remember now. Maybe it wasn't until after your season happened that we found that out, or maybe.
Well, the Storm Horse, the Storm Horse videos started coming out, and remember, like he had like a rap video that he did.
Oh yes, I very much remember Cream Dream. Yeah, I remember.
But I just remember feeling like I still felt like I was on the show, in the sense of like everything needs to be perfect for him, and that's like so the holidays too. When you bring people into your house and you're hosting, it was stressful for everybody involved, and he just seemed very relaxed and kind of go with the flow.
And you took the proper precautions, because like you said, if anybody would have caught you, you guys would have gotten in major trouble. When you went and got him at the airport, were you in the car, or your dad just went and picked him up?
I was in the car.
Also, see, if I were you, I would have just said, Dad, go get him, because just because, and do the same thing, have him lay down. Because even if someone recognized your dad, it's like, wait, why would Courtney's dad be with Ben Flanagan anywhere? And
you know what? And
unless he picked her.
I could be getting this story wrong. Maybe we picked him up at the bro house. I'm not sure, but this was so long ago. But I don't want to get the facts wrong. But I know that he laid down in the back seat for sure. I know that, but
as he should have.
Yeah, it was like, and then we told producers, like our good friend, after the fact. I don't think like the higher ups knew, but it would have been pretty. I don't know. I mean, what are they going to do? Sue you?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but your season hadn't even started airing yet. So if they sue Courtney Robertson, you're almost giving away the winner, because it would be like, well, why would they be suing somebody if she didn't win? What do they care?
And he was in on it too.
Wrong?
Like, he was like, yeah, he was, and other people have done it too. I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, you get your phone back, you kind of go back to normal life. Like, what's stopping you from, I know Ari did that with Becca.
Yeah, he pretty much gave away his own season. Now, I don't know if he did that on purpose, but he was way more blatant than you. I mean, you guys.
He's a bold guy. Yeah, he probably was like, he told me, he's like, I wanted to like figure it out sooner rather than later.
And remember what he did. Remember what the biggest thing that he did outside of posting in the backyard. Him and Becca literally posted in the backyard of a happy couple house within 15 minutes of each other. Something like that. It might have been 30 minutes.
But in the shoes,
either way.
You called out the shoes from like, they were like, he took her dirt bike.
Yeah, he took her.
They had the helmets on.
Yeah, he took her dirt, ATV riding or something like that. And then it was a group picture of every one of that went. There was like 6 people that went on this thing, and 6 people were all in helmets, but people were just like, Ari clearly has a woman. One of them definitely has the body of a woman right next to him, and I think people matched up her jeans
and her shoes. It was her shoes from the show,
and the ripped and it was also a pair of ripped jeans. People sent it to me. I didn't figure it out, because at that point, because remember, this was, God, Ari would have been what, 2016, 17, around there. It was just getting to the advent of people starting to figure stuff out on social media like that, because Instagram had pretty much taken off, I think 2015 or so. And they were sending it to me, and they're like, I think this is Becca. And I'm like, I guess it could be, but it's still not 100% proof to me. And then I realized, and then it wasn't in literally days later when they both posted from the happy couple house. I'm like, these two are just dumb. It was funny because I remember Becca's specifically. It was literally the same backyard, but Becca put a caption on her picture that said like Miami, Florida or something. Or Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Made it
like a location. Yeah.
But all she did was write it. It wasn't the actual location. She just wrote it on her picture. I'm like, okay, yeah. And
there's gotta be, I would love to hear more stories of that, because why wouldn't you, you've just been so under their eye, like want to spend time together rather than you have to organize and that's the whole thing. And like, there's such a buildup of like, when are we going to meet and how are we going to get there, when you're like, wait a minute, we could just meet up in secret.
Yeah. And we know people have done it. I would just love to hear more stories from the couples that have broken protocol. I know Sean and Catherine did it. She came to Dallas and they secretly hung out with his family. I know that happened. We all know that Caitlin and Sean, she ruined her whole season on Snapchat.
Whoops.
Literally laying in bed with him, and she thought she sent a video to her producer, and she hit all and sent it out to all of her followers.
I could see how that could happen. We didn't have Snapchat back then, but like we would send, like when we did happy couples, to your producers, like, look, we're doing this. Like, or I don't know if they were asking for them or what, but oh gosh.
The other big one was Andy Dorfman.
That's
and
right.
Josh. She spoiled Josh. Now, I don't know if you remember this. This was the very beginning of Snapchat. They had, if you went to somebody's Snapchat page, it had their top 3.
Back in the day,
the person they snapped the most. You could see it on their profile. And Andy's top person was Josh's Snapchat screen name. So it was like so out there, and she just, I guess, didn't think about it or something.
Whatever happened to that guy? Where is he at in the world? Do
I
we
believe
know?
he moved back to Atlanta. I think he's in real estate in Atlanta. Yeah,
Oh.
he's doing that. But remember, yeah, he is, because then remember he got engaged to Amanda on Paradise, and that blew up in his face.
He was eating pizza the whole time.
Andy
Oh.
trashed him in her book, which was not very flattering towards him. Who else spoiled? Amanda and Josh spoiled their. Amanda and Josh were literally seen at South Coast Plaza in Southern California, or the
What?
Irvine Spectrum. Yeah,
That's
they were
like
literally
the busiest place you could go. Also, Venmo. Remember, weren't people Venmoing each other?
that was Colton and Cassie were spoiled on Venmo. They found that she was one of his either it was Cassie was one of his friends on Venmo list, or it was her mother. It's just like why would Cassie's mother be on Colton's Venmo list?
Or Spotify. People share Spotify's. I remember me and Ben shared music on, I think, Spotify. And then, I mean, I think Ari still follows me on Spotify. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you can, you know, do a little sleuthing.
It's hilarious. And I'm sure nowadays, you know, well, I mean, the most recent one was the Joey and Kelsey thing when they both posted, when Kelsey posted from the happy couple backyard and people noticed the backyard was not Louisiana. And they're like, she's on. And that basically was the proof. Because at that point, I had spoiled Joey was engaged to Daisy. And it wasn't until that came out that it was like, oh, it's clearly Kelsey because she's on a happy couple with him. Why would she be on a happy couple with Joey if he didn't pick her, you know? So
But although they do sometimes use the same houses for people, like sometimes they're like friends of the producers. I remember where we stayed a lot close to the studio was a friend of one of the producers. I think she was married to Pete Scalatar for a while, Cassie.
Cassie
It was
Leonard.
like her friend's Airbnb. Like, so somehow there was an in there, but like I know they use a lot of the same houses. One of our first happy couples was at a place where, gosh, what was that other villain's name? She was with Jake Pavelka?
Vienna.
Yeah, Vienna, and they were like, oh, this is where Jake and Vienna always stayed together, and she set the fire alarm off at night and the fire trucks showed up, and so it was kind of funny to be like, wow, there's been a lot of people, like they've used a lot of the same houses over the years in the Hollywood Hills.
Cassie and Peter did yours. They were both on your season, right? They were still working with the show on.
So I worked with Pete, and then Cassie was Ben's like #1 producer. She was with him all the time, and they ended up getting married and having 2 kids. I don't know if they're still together. They seem friendly, but I don't think that they are.
No,
but they were dating when we did the show, and those were the two. And if you read my book, the 2 producers that were with us after we got engaged and stayed with us in the ski chalet.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah,
but
I do.
Yeah, Pete's been around. He hasn't been on the show for a long time.
Yeah, he's doing Netflix stuff now. He just did a show on Netflix for the NBA players.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, he's doing that. It's called Starting Five, where the NBA followed 5 players in the NBA around last year for the whole season, and Peter's part of that project. I think he was the EP on that show.
Oh yeah, he's a higher up. So is Cassie. I can't believe how many shows are like a lot of the producers that I know from that time are doing like Hulu shows, Netflix shows. There's so many good streaming shows right now. I don't know how they're going to keep up. I mean, have you heard any rumblings? Is Golden Bachelor coming back? I mean, we haven't talked in a while, but I'm like dying to know if you have any tea on who could be the next.
Well, we still have to do our Bachelorette, which is going to film in March, which I'm assuming is going to be one of Grant's women. And then we got Paradise next summer Paradise is back. So they still have to they still have to film Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise before they even think of filming another Golden Bachelor. That's why people have asked me, like, who's going to be the next Golden Bachelor? I'm like, they still have 2 seasons to film. They're not even thinking about Golden Bachelor right now.
Well, and 2 of them already booed up. Who's going to wait around that long unless you're Pascal? Pascal, send him down to Paradise. I'm sure he likes younger girls.
I think Paradise is going to somehow incorporate the Golden franchise. I mean, they only have 2 seasons, so I think they're going to bring them down there in some capacity. I don't know if they're going to compete like everybody else or go down there as mentors or something. I don't know, but they are definitely going to bring. Well, I say definitely. I don't know. I'm just. It's a speculation on my part, but there's no way.
I would totally agree with that. Whether it's like to mentor, to stir the pot, to do a group date, because they're doing a lot of that. And totally out of left field, I don't know if Susie Evans is single, but I just saw a post she did the other day, and I thought, man, she would be such a good Bachelorette.
She would be.
That's out of left field. Is there anybody that you like? Let's say one of Grant's girls isn't it? Like, I would love if they went back to a format of like bringing an older contestant back. Is there anybody that you could think
the
of?
last time they did that, where it wasn't the girl from the previous season, I think was Emily.
Or Claire. They brought Claire back.
Oh yeah, Claire. Duh. Yeah.
And that didn't go so well. I've heard stuff offline about her. I'd love to get her on the podcast.
Let's see. So after Claire, it was
they had brought Tayshia in.
Gabby Rachel was the season before. Charity was the season before. Jen was the season before. So yeah, it's only been we've only had 3 Bachelorette seasons since Claire and Tayshia. So yeah, if it's not one of you have to look at single women. There just aren't many single women that finished high in their season. Most of these women are now have moved on and are in relationships. So Susie would be someone that stands out. Seemingly it's somebody that I know people would like if she ended up being the Bachelorette. Will she be single come March? Is she even an option? I have no idea. I mean,
well, I know when I had her on that they had approached her about it. But also, I mean, there's Victoria Fuller, which is sounding like she might be single again. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's definitely single again. Yeah.
They deleted, and we got to talk about breakups in the nation. I mean, people just, and I remember doing that when Ben and I broke up. I just deleted photos. I left some because I treat social media like a scrapbook, and I'm kind of glad I did because I don't have a lot from that time. Not that I spend a lot of time looking at it, but it's like anything. You look back and you're like, wow, I was so young. Like, I'm glad I have some of these pictures, but I heard that Victoria deleted all the photos.
And he deleted all the photos of her.
Also, Kelley Flanagan.
Yeah, Kelley, we're going to find out. I mean, by the time people are listening to this, Kelley will have already appeared on Chicks in the Office and finally share her story of what happened with Ari Raptis, her boyfriend, that even when they were together, we would see pictures of them, but she never really did videos. I don't think we ever heard him speak. They were clearly together for a while. Then she wasn't posting with him. And then there were some pictures after about 3 or 4 months that did surface of them together. But then out of the blue, a couple weeks ago, she posts this Instagram story that basically said, thank you to women out there for informing me, women supporting women, of basically saying, like, I found out the guy that I was with was doing me no good and completely disrespecting me. So like I said, by the time people hear this, you'll have already either heard Kelley Flanagan on Chicks in the Office, or you'll have read a recap of exactly what she said. But yeah, I mean, you and I, as we record this on Tuesday, I'm looking forward to seeing what she has to say, because we know nothing about their relationship.
Yeah. And she deleted most of the photos of them. Like you said, there weren't a lot, but somebody's got some splitting to do.
Yeah, no, it's
she's another good one too. I mean, she had that. She was caught up with Pilot Pete, and Pilot Pete was just seen with Maria. I can't keep up with these whippersnappers.
Yeah. Well, what about the Maria and Pete Davidson story?
I feel like there's got to be some truth to that.
I mean,
I listened to.
What did she say? She said it was her. She's friends with Pete's sister, and that's what she said. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
And also, we know how the Sun reports, because that was the one that gave Laura Owens a platform, which, we know how that went down.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, she said, like, look, Pete and I never dated. I'm friends with his sister. Well, that could be true, but doesn't mean you didn't hook up with him. Like, why would this? It just seems like very weird. The story literally comes out of left field. I'm not calling Maria a liar. I'm just saying she could have easily had a few dates and hooked up with him. That doesn't mean, I wouldn't say you were dating somebody. So that's why when she says, I never dated Pete, she's telling the truth. But she didn't say Pete and I hooked up. Like,
and she said it hurts also my mental health, but because, I mean, he's a massive star. Let's be honest. He's dated some of the hottest, biggest, you go from Kate Beckinsale. No, is it Kate Beckinsale? I always get her name wrong. From Serendipity. She's stunning. I've seen her at the Promenade in Santa Monica once. I was like, oh my God, she's unbelievable. She's just an angel. Like, her hair. I was leaving the gym and I was like, who is that bombshell? I was like, oh my God, I love Serendipity. That's one of my favorites with John Cusack. And then he dated Kim Kardashian. I mean, you name it. He's dated
Ariana Grande. Engaged to Ariana Grande. Don't forget
Who
that.
else? Who's the one I'm forgetting? The model that was after Kim Kardashian. Was it Gigi? No.
It might have. I've lost track of his women.
But like he's high up there. I think that I wouldn't put it like, I think that I could see them hanging out and having a lot of fun. I mean, have a lot of friends that are comedians. They like to be around normal, funny, confident women. So I could see them having a friendship or something, but I would love to get her on the podcast and talk about, is she starting her own podcast? Do you know?
She made it seem like she was when she did Call Her Daddy, but that was 6 months ago. So I have no idea. Just like, you hear a lot of people starting stuff and then it just never happens.
It's hard. So I mean, I'm still learning how to navigate it. It's, I'm proud I've done as many as I've done. I'm like, the show will go on. I'm not giving up, but it's, it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. Well, recently, the other thing I wanted to bring up was a couple of days ago, this past weekend, somebody had a third birthday that I wanted to be at after watching you post the videos of. I wanted the fact that you had Krispy Kreme donuts for Paloma's birthday. You also had a giant piñata that was the biggest piñata I'd ever seen. I don't know how many whacks it took for that thing to open, but I'm guessing
so many.
Was there so much? Did the kids go nuts when that finally broke and the candy spilled everywhere?
Oh yeah, they did. And I looked at my oldest nephew. He's 10. I'm like, Mateo, whack it. And he's like, I got you. And it just busted right open. That thing was 4 feet high. Well, hey, you're invited anytime, but it was like a 2-hour party. I've learned that is a good amount of time. The younger kids have to nap. So we did like 10 to 12. Krispy Kreme DoorDash, which that's my only second DoorDash. My first experience was when I ordered like 20 Jack in the Box tacos because, it's like 2 for 1. So I ordered like 10, but then like 20 came and I was like, why is this so expensive? Krispy Kreme for the win, bagels, just keep it simple. But yeah, you're welcome anytime. Paloma was happy. We did face painting and now here we are in the holidays. We're just gearing up for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes. What was the theme? Did it have a theme to the party? Was it
not really. It ended up being all over. It was like we called it a thriesta. And so
okay, that's what I saw. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, we did a little thriesta and we had Minnie Mouse and a lot of unicorns, face painting. She's easy to please. She got some toys. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's really nice for me to like see the holidays and make the festivities special for my kids, but it's also exhausting. I felt like I need a nap.
What about Joaquin? Is he one of those that because he's still young, is he jealous and doesn't get that like, hey, today's Paloma's day, you have to kind of stay in the background, or did he want front and center?
Oh, you nailed it. Yeah, he did. And we just kept having to tell him. She got these, they're really cool, like story headphones from Disney, and you can put different things in. They're his now. And he's a helper, so thankfully. But no, he just, the next day after her birthday, everything, it's not your birthday anymore. And I'm like, well, we're kind of celebrating all week. He's like in a bossy mode, like big brother bossy. So yeah. And then Gabriel's just like as sweet as can be. He's my favorite right now.
Right now.
He's starting to sleep throughout the night and he's just smiley and happy. And yeah, it ebbs and flows. I love him all the same, but you know what I mean?
I see he's in the little walker thing. When did that started recently, right?
Yes. He's like sprinting all around the house. I think this kid is going to be walking before he's crawling.
And how many? He's probably 6-7 months now because he was born in May, right?
End of April. Yeah, basically. He's almost 7 months this week, and he just got 2 teeth, and that's like been a game changer. And we're finally getting some solid sleep. We're able to get all 3 kids down, and we're watching Cobra Kai at night.
Oh, good.
We've got 1 episode left.
Just wait till episode 10. Wait, you're caught up. You're on season 6. Okay.
Yeah, we've got episode 10. We're saving it
just
for tonight.
Episode 10 it's a game changer.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Steve,
I'm not going to spoil it for. Not going to spoil it for you because you'll be disappointed.
Please don't.
You'll be disappointed if I spoil it for you. I don't want you to know.
Well, I just left on a cliffhanger and I was like, oh, this is so good.
What was the cliffhanger at the end of episode 9? I'm trying to remember.
Well, the guy with the weird hair showed back up, and Kreese got his little sword back in his locker room, and he's like, "This isn't over." And then Cobra Kai went to the finals.
Yeah.
The finals.
Just wait. Episode 10 takes it up a notch. You'll be like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah. I can't.
And then episode 10 is like the last episode in this batch, and then the final 5 episodes of the series, 11 through 15, are coming out on February 13th. So you gotta wait.
Wait a minute. I thought, this is like a Thanksgiving miracle. I thought that this was the last one of all time.
No, there's another 5-episode drop. This was 15 episodes last season. So it comes out February 13th. So you only have to wait 3 months for the next batch, because the first batch came out in July, and then we had to wait 4 months until we got episode 6 through 10. But yeah,
there's
11
no
through 15.
crying and karate.
Such a good show.
So feel good. And that's like at the end of the day, after a long day, it's like we get on the couch, I got my sweatpants on, and we're just, it's just my favorite thing, Steve.
Because you've watched Cobra Kai and you like it, have you thought about enrolling the kids? Because I know a lot of parents do that in karate and doing that whole I don't know if Paloma would be interested or Joaquin would be interested, but have you thought about it for them?
So I want to get Paloma in dance. She just turned 3, obviously, and they have to be 3 to do like ballet and stuff. And I've heard like the juice isn't really worth the squeeze, but I just think it would be a fun mother-daughter thing to do. But Joaquin is like majorly into Ninja Turtles. He has like a little fake sword.
He needs to do karate. You need to get him in karate.
And to be truthful, he's a very clumsy a little bit. He came home with a huge thing the other day. He's like, I don't know, I fell down. But I think it's really good for hand-eye coordination. Yeah. Although him and Paloma have been playing Ninja Turtles. They have these little foam fighters.
Oh, okay.
And they just go for each other. And then I'm like, Dad, step in. And we're just like, wow. It's so fun. But I do want to get him in karate is the simple answer.
Yeah. And it's
Paloma,
obviously it gets
not
out,
so much.
He gets out energy. It's a lot of, it's a lot of discipline as well. But yeah, I mean, I see, and when you say Paloma is into dance, I just think of, you've watched Ashley Spivey's stories with
No,
Penny?
I don't think I follow her. I need to. I don't think she likes me. I remember when I was hanging out with Ari, he said she talked shit about me to him, but I don't know if that's true or not, but that was like 20 million years ago. Hey, Ashley. I've never met her.
What about so for Thanksgiving today, are you guys going to your sister's, or are you having it at your place? Or your sister come to yours? How do you guys do Thanksgiving?
So normally we do that, or we'll go somewhere, but it's so hard, Steve, to pack up 3 kids and nap times. And this year we're doing it just as a family of 5. Our neighborhood does a turkey trot in the morning where everyone walks and it's like early, like 9 to 10. And people, if they want to come by, they can come by. But we picked up Whole Foods. We already have it. It's a turkey for like 5 people. We're just going to reheat that. We're going to start watching our favorite Christmas movies that night. We do like family movie nights. I make popcorn. So it's just going to be our first family Thanksgiving together, which, it's so easy to get pulled in different directions, but I think it's time to kind of start setting some new traditions. Not every year, but what about you? I'm looking forward to it. We're going to watch.
What's on the list? Is Elf on the list for Thursday?
Already watched it.
Oh, you already watched it?
We watched it. First of all, one of the best movies ever, I'm sure you've seen it, is The Ref with David was it Leary?
Dennis Leary. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm like, you got me. That is like our favorite. I don't think you can find it anywhere, so I bought it. And then National Lampoon, the Christmas one. We also love Just Friends with what's her name? With Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, right. Is that the Sandra Bullock, Ryan Reynolds one?
No, it's Just Friends, and it's got Anna Faris.
Oh, Anna Faris and Ryan Reynolds.
Have you seen that one? You've got to watch it for me if you haven't.
I don't think I have. I've seen that.
That's top on our list. We're going to watch Just Friends, The Ref, the Christmas one. I mean, that never goes out of style. And then The Family Stone, but that pulls at your heartstrings. That's got Diane Keaton, great cast, Sarah Jessica Parker. Did you ever watch that one with Luke Wilson?
I'm sure I'm almost positive I did.
Well, if you want to cry your eyes out, just give it a go.
What's it called? Family Stone?
The Family Stone.
I don't think. Now that I think about it, no, I don't think I've seen.
It's got Claire Danes in it.
What about the classic Christmas Story, the one that's on TNT that runs all the month of Christmas? That one from the 80s.
Oh, that's my favorite one. That one runs on TBS all day, so the kids won't really get into that.
They won't get it.
No, I tried to put on the Polar Express for them, and they were scared. That one, and then they love the Grinch one that's on. I think it's free on Peacock right now or Netflix. It's got Pharrell Williams as the doing the audio. It's so good, Steve.
Well, what about? And now I just thought about this. What about this? I don't know if the kids are into this, and if you've done this as tradition. Do you do the whole Elf on the Shelf with them or no?
Oh, that Elf on the Shelf has been up for a month.
Oh, gee. It's supposed to start tonight. It's supposed to start Thanksgiving night till Christmas night, right? Do you guys do it? Are you guys diligent with it where you literally change it every day, or sometimes you're just like, oh crap, I've got to move
Oh no, we don't. You know what? I saw something funny though. Somebody put it on their fridge, where you put your water cup, and they just put it right there and they taped it to it. I'm gonna do that. So follow along. But no, we just leave them on the same shelf in our living room, and we're like, when they're really acting up, we look up and we're like, all right, he's watching you. And it works.
They get it. They understand. They get it.
Oh, they get it. We put a little Christmas tree up there, but I don't got the time to put them in the feet in the flour and move them around. I'm like, by 8:00, 8:30, 9, I'm ready to go to bed.
You know who did it so diligently, and I applaud her for it, is Molly Mesnick.
Oh, really?
She would put it on her Instagram story. Now, I don't know. Riley, I think, is 9 now. So I don't think Riley, maybe
she's so cute.
9 is like 4th grade. So she might still believe in Santa. I don't know. Maybe I'll text Molly and be like, hey, I just want to know if I need to look forward to your Elf on the Shelf stories this year, because she would literally like handwritten notes, cookies half eaten, like every day until Christmas. But I bet you Riley, I hope Riley's not listening to this.
Yeah.
But hey, I need to text Molly and just be like, hey, is Riley still in that phase? And are we getting updates on Elf on the Shelf? Because she was definitely one of those that goes all out for Christmas.
I bet Dave and Tasha will do that because, Tasha's a massive Christmas fan once he gets a little older. But no, we don't have the time for all that. But I appreciate the commitment. Maybe as they get older, we could do that a little bit more. What about you? I want to hear about your plans for Thanksgiving. I've already texted you offline, but I know your dad had a little spill, so I'm sorry to hear about that. And what do you normally do? And
we always go to my sister's. So my sister's 15 minutes from me. So it'll just be, obviously my dad's not going to be able to be there this Thanksgiving because he'll be in his rehab facility, which I believe he's going into. He moved into a couple of days ago by the time people listen to this. And so we're going to save him a plate and bring him food at his rehab center. But he's got a leg brace on from his ankle to the top of his thigh. I mean, his leg we can't get him into a car to go to somebody's house, because even if we got him, I mean, you could get one of those ambulances to bring somebody somewhere, but once he got in the house, he would just do what? Just sit there on a couch with his leg up. And it's not, he needs to be in a rehab facility. That would be taking away from one full day of getting physical therapy and occupational therapy.
And he had his surgery, right? Sorry.
Yeah. He had it 2 days. He had it 2 days after he got injured, and surgery went well. But he needs to, it's going to be a long recovery. When you're 77 years old and you live a sedentary lifestyle and you tear your quad muscle, you're going to have to start not working out, but he needs to basically start doing exercises. And like I said, he's going to get occupational therapy and physical therapy to strengthen the leg, and then to just get in and out of the bathroom, get in and out of the shower, changing himself, getting in and out of a car, all that stuff. He's got to be taught how to do it before, because he lives on his own. He lives by himself, and they're not going to send him back home until can prove that you can take care of yourself. So, yeah, they told him 2 weeks in the splint that he has on his leg now, and then he'll get one of those giant knee braces that have the flexible knee braces once he can start moving his leg more. He has started it, like he had surgery on Thursday. He's been in the hospital since last Thursday, and he gets like 30 minutes a day of they've started physical therapy but it's very, very minimal. He's going to have a walker. He's not going to have crutches. He's going to have a walker. But he can't really put much pressure on his leg. So he steps with his right foot and then slides the left foot with the walker. That's where he's at right now. Obviously 4 or 5, 6 months from now, he's going to be able to walk using a walker. But yeah, so it kind of put a wrench into Thanksgiving plans in terms of he just won't be there. But it'll be me, my sister, my mom, my sister's husband, my nephew, and then my sister invited family friends over, a family of 4. So it's going to be actually, I said my brother-in-law, he won't be there because he's never there on Thanksgiving because he works at AT&T Stadium. He works at the Cowboys Stadium, and the Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving Day at home. So he works in one of the suites there. So
is your niece going?
She went to New York to be with our family in New York. She goes there. She doesn't want to come home. She doesn't want to come home for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
So fun. Oh,
so she goes to New York. She arrived there Monday of this week, and she is with our relatives in New York. So she's hanging out with them, and then she'll come home for Christmas break. She'll be home for a month over Christmas. So,
well, bring him a dish, and are you going to bring a dish, or does your sister do?
She does it all. My mom will make the green bean casserole. By the way,
that sounds so good.
Anybody that's anti green bean casserole, you're anti-American. I absolutely love green bean casserole.
I'm salivating thinking about it. I love it. I love it for leftovers. I could eat it in the morning. Nom, nom, nom. Oh. It's so good. And the stuffing. I had H get stovetop for us today too, because we do the Whole Foods pickup.
Oh, do you do the French onion strips on top of it as well? Okay.
Yes. Good. Do you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's and the thing is, I don't like when I get my In-N-Out burger or whatever, I don't like onions. I'm not an onion guy, but I absolutely will eat onion rings from a fast food place. And I'll have green bean casserole with the French onion.
Well, they're really top, fried. There's like a dash of onion.
Yeah, I don't like onions on my burger at all. I'll never put them on my burger, but yet I'll have onion rings. It's very weird. I don't understand it.
You know what? Umberto gets the grilled onions at In-N-Out. I do the raw onions, but it's so strong. You get like an onion burp later in the day. You're like, ooh.
Is it? I see. Maybe I'll get a double and be like, go and say grilled onions, but go light on. I don't want a whole burger.
Maybe you try a side and you just try like a bite of it to see.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I thought of you the other day. I was going to take Paloma to get a caboodle, and I had Gabriel too, but I saw an Olive Garden, and I was like, can they just keep it together a little longer? I so wanted to send you a picture, and I was like, I don't even know what to order. That's on my punch list. I gotta get there.
What was the last thing I wanted to talk to you about?
We didn't talk about. There was some news this week. You always catch me up. I'm like, wait, what's going on? So apparently, VPump Rules is canceled.
Done. Yeah.
You scooped me on this.
Yeah, they're just bringing back season 12, but they're just revamping the show, and all the original cast, Lala, Sheena, Ariana, Katie, Tom, both, and everybody is gone, and they're just going to basically go back to its original format, which is let's follow all these hot, young, mid-20 people around that work at SUR. And we don't even know the cast yet. It hasn't even started filming.
You know how many people are signing up to work at SUR right now?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because they want
straight out of central casting.
Oh, for sure. I guarantee these people that will be on the show, because they said they haven't even started filming, and we don't even know who the cast is. I guarantee most of the people that are going to be on this show will be hired to be on the show. Like they'll get hired at SUR just so they can be on the show.
100%.
I doubt it's the current SUR staff that just happens to have all this drama between them. No, it's going to be probably some that are actors already,
and have some history already,
Yeah.
Oh, I met it. I mean, but I was shocked. You scooped me on that. I was like, I saw something online that was like, I thought it was going to be like another, spinoff show, like The Valley. And then before we started recording, you told me, and I was like, no way. So like, I'm thinking that other cast members are going to have to be on The Valley. I mean, Lala's she's a single mom.
they'll make appearances. They're not going to be full-time cast members, but they've already said that Schwartz, Katie, Sheena, Lala will make appearances on the Valley season 2. I mean, Valley season 2 is already filmed. It filmed this summer, so it's already over. But we're not going to get it until probably, well, they haven't said, but when it's coming out. But it's definitely coming out. We're going to find out. Brittany and Jax's divorce is going to be a major part of season 2. Both
and
of
probably
them
Kristen Dowdy just announced she's pregnant.
Yeah, well, that won't be on it because that was filmed this summer. So her pregnancy won't be part of season 2, unless they do like they did at season 1, where remember the last episode of the Valley season 1, they fast forwarded because
I like that actually. That was
shit had
nice.
That was where they caught us up on the 2 divorces that had happened. Michelle and
they wrapped that up real quick.
Yeah, and then Brittany and Jax, what their life was like in March of this year versus, because they filmed it summer of 2023, but yet so much had happened since the finale film, so they came back and filmed in March, and then I think we saw this episode in May or something like that.
Maybe it's the end of an era, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit sad. But Schwartz and Sandy's is closing.
That's closing at the end of the year.
We'll see if the sandwich shop was even a real thing. I've heard that was kind of fake. And it'll be interesting to see what happens next for all of them. I mean, maybe they just fade to black. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, Sandoval, reality TV has been his life. And ever since, season 11 ended filming, he's filmed Special Forces last summer. Remember, he was on Special Forces last summer. And then this summer, he obviously filmed The Traitors, which we'll see come January. That's coming out. Season 3 of Traitors comes out in January. And that's also has Gabby on it. Wells is on it.
Saw that.
Yeah. So I know that you were, I don't know if you were in the mix, but it had been,
I would love
contacted,
to.
right? Weren't you had been contacted or an email?
I mean, I definitely
exchanged?
threw my name in the ring for sure. Yeah. And one of the casting directors is who I met with. It's a small world when I was meeting with them for Dancing with the Stars. So maybe I'm old hat, but I'm also ready to be back in the mix. But we'll see if they bring an old thing back,
Yeah. No, I think that there's Sandoval basically, I guarantee
he needs that money. And I mean, I can't imagine how much debt he has from that restaurant, but also remember like in the show, him talking about like affording a mortgage and this and that. I think it's like $100,000 to do Traitors or something in that realm.
He's going to be a reality TV lifer. Like all these shows, I guarantee, I don't want to say guarantee, but I can't even remember. Was Sandoval on Dancing with the Stars?
No, he didn't do that. He, like you said,
he's never been on that one.
I think Special Forces was like enjoyable for people that were like Team Ariana because like they got to see.
That's right. Ariana was on it.
Yeah. She was on it and she's off doing her thing. So that's going to be interesting. But they all have podcasts. And Lala's always like in the top charts under TV and film. And so are you. Shout out.
I didn't even know that. I don't even check the charts. I didn't realize that.
You're on it every week.
I don't really check. I mean, in the past I used to, but I've been doing it 7 years now that I don't even look.
You're on every week. You Game of Roses, but I give you Lala's. I know I don't listen to her. I kind of find her.
I've never listened to her podcast once.
Intolerable sometimes. There's just something I don't like about her. I've talked to Raquel or Rachel. She's happy in a relationship. She's stepped away from her podcast. It was getting
she quit hers.
2 million downloads a month. And I'm like, good for you. She is like one of those rare people. We'll see if she goes back to it, but that doesn't want to, it's not good for her mental health. Like the ones that she does talking about the show and what all went on do the best, but she's like, I don't want to get stuck in that. And I respect that.
I mean, that's what we know her for. Nobody knew her outside, right? Nobody knew who Rachel Leviss was until she was on VPump Rules. So clearly it's one of these things where I know she wants to get away from it and establish her own brand, but it's like your brand is the only reason people know who you are is because of what you did on VPump Rules. And maybe some people can branch out and be more accepted and people want to hear what she has to say about other things. But my guess is she realized if I'm not talking about Vanderpump, people probably aren't tuning into me.
Exactly.
That's why you wouldn't quit a podcast if it was ultimately super, super successful. You wouldn't just dump it.
I was set to go record with her and they called me and they said, we got to change it. I was like literally going to fly out there and go to her 30th birthday party. And they're like, show's over. You could still come out here, but she needs a break. And I respect that. So, but Lala, I find insufferable. There's just, it will be interesting to see what she does. I mean, obviously she's making money with her podcast, but
yeah. And she's got another child, she's a single mom of 2. So she's got to focus on that. I'm sure she's, look, she's up for all these other shows that pop up. She could be on Special Forces next year. She could be on Traders next season. It's like, it's just kind of a recycled of the same type of people.
Put Devin on. I do think, okay, this is so out of left field, because like I would put Lala in a villain category, or somebody who just, I do like that quality in people. Alana, Noelle, like I love people that are kind of unfiltered. But like Devin Strader, for example, will he get a shot at redemption? Will he go on Traders? I doubt he'll be in Paradise, but if
there's zero chance he has anything to do with the Bachelor franchise anymore. They're done with him. There's no way. You can't justify putting a guy who has a restraining order out against him. There's no way. There's no way they can put him on. They're not going to address it.
I don't know. They didn't address it at the, like, I don't think
they haven't said a word about it. They haven't even addressed it after the story broke.
Doesn't know about it though. It's like a lot of the stuff that we talk about. Most people don't listen to podcasts. I think that would be the best thing he could do for himself, to go down to Paradise and like beg for mercy and get on there and show up like a little angel.
I just don't think he can do it. I don't think he's capable of doing that. I've seen the way the guy reacts on social media.
Well, and also, what does that happen to their darling, like Jen Tran, like who's like America's sweetheart? Like that might cause an uproar, but that makes a television show.
Yeah, I don't think this guy has any ounce of redemption. I don't think he cares. He acts like an asshole on social media. Like, he should be doing a redemption tour, and yet he trolls other people and he calls women fat and makes fun of people who leave comments that, look, you're going to get negative comments because of what happened on the show and how you acted. But when you act back and you call people names in return, like why should this guy be given a chance to do it? It's like, if you want to have a redemption, sure, I'm all for it. But this guy doesn't care. He doesn't seem to want a redemption because he's just clapping back at people and kind of playing up in this. I don't know. I think he's a complete asshole. I don't want to see him get anything.
I kind of would like to, and maybe that's because I was the villain and I like to give people the benefit. And don't get me wrong, I talked about.
But you weren't an asshole about it. You weren't an asshole though. You were a villain. We've talked about the levels of villainy on the show. He is a high level villain because he acted like a total prick. You just said a bunch of things that were about yourself and you're just kind of having fun with it. But on the show that's labeled as a villain, but your villain compared to Dylan
now.
Your villain compared to Devin is not even in the same ballpark.
I think he knows that he's probably one of the biggest. I guess I would say he's maybe accidentally a villain. I don't know. I feel like there's accidental villains. I think people since my time go on wanting to be a villain. When you hear people saying those lines and over and over and over and the skin, doing the skinny dip, whatever it is, I think that people have tried to reinvent that wheel and they've gone into it like Corinne Olympios, like no filter.
She went on wanting to play a role, clearly.
Yeah. Corinne. And Demi, I don't think so much with Demi, but her personality, like it could have been an accidental villain to her, but she wasn't going to be the girl that was like a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. My guess is Demi obviously is very outspoken, and a producer just was able to producer saw what Demi was personality wise. And they were just like, let's go with this. Let's just constantly have funny one-liners and just constantly being the way Demi is. And she wasn't a horrible villain. I mean, I thought, Corinne clearly wanted to play a role. But it was, when you take a step back and look at Corinne, it's pretty harmless. It was just her being very overtly sexual in everything she did. Devin was just.
I reached out to him. I did reach out to him just to because I've been there, and there are two sides to every story. And he did right back. He was really nice. And I think that he's probably still going through it. I think he did say it does get him down a little bit, some of the backlash stuff, but I would love to have him on, and the show would never let him come on. But I also think he's ballsy enough to just be like, I was like, is there anything you want me to relay for you? Having been in those shoes where you're getting a lot of hate and not learning like how to deal with the media, or like taking, like he took every turn like kind of wrong, like putting that video out, clapping back at the haters, and that doesn't win people over. And I remember
not going to get a redemption arc doing that.
By one of my producers I would get when I was like doing more social media, because Instagram took off when Ben and I really started, like a year into our relationship or so, or, you know, almost a year. And I would get trolls. And I remember, I think I was asking it Long Gale, and he's like, Courtney, you know, just be like, wow, you sound like a really nice person. Like, there are some producers that will encourage you to, or you see people doing that, like it clapping back for some people. Khloe Kardashian's one of them. And maybe I'm giving him too much grace. I think that he's been through a shipwreck, and he might need a little lifeboat, just a little one.
Shipwreck was caused by his own doing. He was the one steering the ship into an iceberg.
Well, shifting gear, has there ever been like a big villain that's gone down to paradise that you can think of? Did Nick?
The one, who comes to mind the most would be Nick.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but even Nick, I mean, as much as he was a villain on Andy's season, and obviously him and Sean Booth, the final two on Caitlyn's season, it was just because he was just very off-putting, and just kind of like, he wasn't, again, taking a step back, looking back at him, Nick was just confident, seemingly a little bit self-absorbed and confident. It wasn't, Devin is literally in a class of his own. Obviously stuff that
I agree with that.
With the engagement, and then stuff that we found out, like he literally was served papers, a restraining order was filed against him, not to mention the things that she wrote that he did to break that restraining order. Nick didn't have a restraining order against him. You didn't have a restraining order against you. Corinne didn't. Demi didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like Corinne and like all those villains, this guy was a villain not only on the show, but off the show, where mistreatment of women off the show. That's why I think he's in a class where I just don't think they want to have anything to do with him. I don't think he's ever going to be on this franchise again. I think they're going to just wipe their hands of him. Now, granted, I do think the show should have addressed. That was all. I mean, while it was on my podcast and I was the one that broke it, every single outlet ran with it, and the show clearly still never commented. Us Weekly had it, People had it, EW had it. Everybody
they didn't
had
do that with Guy. They didn't do it with Jill. They just completely deleted him from the show. Gil, right? He had one. He wasn't at the Men Tell All.
Yeah, that was how they punished Gil. Didn't ask him to the Men Tell All.
And they took him completely out of the show. They didn't even show his exit when she let him go.
Yeah. I think you saw him walking towards her without a rose, but we never got a ITM of him.
Yeah, they just completely deleted him from. I mean, this is something that the show's got to work on. Not gonna lie, casting, hire me. I can find anything online.
And it's always the men. We never find out. There's never any. Grant season is starting in a couple months, and I haven't heard anything out of the ordinary about
never
his women.
Say never.
Who knows?
I'm sure some girls have keyed some cars.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens with Grant's women, because the women haven't even been announced officially by the ABC cast and have their bios put up on the website and all that. So none of that stuff's even come out. Usually once that comes out, then I'll probably get some emails from people, because those people haven't even been following so far, my site, and when they were released on the Facebook page back in September before filming started. It's like there's that release, and then there's the release of ABC, and then there's the first episode. And it's like 3 different times where fans are like, oh, Bachelor, let me go look at their bios. Oh, wait, I know that girl. And then, info starts coming out. Like that's remember where when you were on the show, they didn't do it before you left. You were on the seasons where we didn't know filming had started. They didn't release the contestants on Facebook and say, here's Courtney R from Arizona, age this. And I had to go digging for who you were. It was
Yeah,
just
you didn't know how horrible that blue background photo was until you
yeah,
got done filming. You're like, "Oh
yeah.
my god, that's the
And
best picture you could ever that lives on the internet forever."
now back then, I would start hearing stuff about, hey, this girl is on the show, and I'd have to go back to my blog from 2011, but I remember I had a lot of Ben's women, their first and last names, and I had identified a lot of you women while your show was filming, because I would be able to get pictures, and then once I posted pictures like, oh hey, here was today's date. You took a group photo of that softball game where you all had
Oh, yeah,
diarrhea
yeah.
or whatever.
Me and Casey did, and one
Okay.
producer.
Yeah, I mean,
Woo!
I remember
Don't take
that
3
group photo
laxatives.
that group photo came out, and then people said to me, "Oh, I know who that girl is." Like I knew Emily O'Brien's name before the cast came out. I knew your name. I knew Jacqueline Swartz was a contestant. I knew KCB. What I remember. I think I had most of your cast laid out there for everybody before the first
You need to
episode aired.
document like Chad and Lizzie. They have such a good memory.
Yeah, they're good.
And
They're
so
good
do,
with.
but you are right there with them. You know, like you've been following along for so long. And Steve,
Yeah.
this is well, I wanted to say I'm pleasantly surprised by Grant's. I'm not that thrilled to watch just because I didn't know much of him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a good looking guy, but we've talked about I would love for them to get sorry, my voice is crapping out. I'd love to get somebody who's a new, completely like guy from the sky. Like this guy has a house on the beach in Maui. He's self-made. He really is ready. But anyway, I saw the promo for the season and I was like, I am in. Sign me up. These girls, and I like a little bit of the drama because I've lived through it, but
Yeah.
they were pretty catty. But I
Oh.
like that they showed him playing music and you kind of got to know him a little bit more.
I think. Well, I can say this. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming Grant's engaged. I mean, I know who the final two are. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
know.
probably doing a happy couple
Yeah,
right now.
I know.
Sanctioned or not.
What's interesting is I had somebody reach out to me who has been on reality TV in the past asking me, hey, is Grant single? I would love to meet him. And I'm just like, I'm assuming he's not. I hate to tell you that, but every bachelor usually ends up with somebody. I mean, the last time a bachelor ended up with nobody at the end of the season was Brad's first season, Brad Womack, when he dumped Deanna and Jenny. But I'm guessing he's with somebody. But it was funny that somebody
is it somebody on recent years?
No,
Tell more.
it's not even someone from the Bachelor franchise. They were on another reality show, but they reached out to me, and they were like, oh my God, he is so hot. If he's single, can you put me in touch with him? I'm like, well, I don't have any contacts to Grant other than, I mean, you'd have a better chance sliding into his DMs than I would putting you in touch with him because I don't know him.
Ladies, shoot your shot. That's how I met my husband. Follow, like, DM, unfollow, follow again. Who I get hit up about a lot is Chris Soules.
People hit you up to ask you if to
I
set
yes.
With Chris Soules. Was he on your pod?
No, I haven't had him on the podcast. We've tried to coordinate. I think he's just, and I respect that. He's just kind of off doing his own thing. I was trying to, and then he was in Arizona at one point and he was like, hey, you want to come meet up? They were at like a spot, him with a couple, I think it was like a Bachelor sponsored thing, but I get so many girls asking me like, what do you know about Chris Soules? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, slide into his DMs.
Yeah. Anybody that's interested in anybody from Bachelor Nation, they all have basically public Instagrams. You might as well slide in. Now, if he's not following you, it's going to end up in his request box. So I have no idea how many of these people check their request box, or if they're just loaded and you're just in a long laundry list of women that they've got 100 people in their request box and they're not going through all of them. But
well, it's funny you say that because I hit Devin up months ago on his, and it was a request because he didn't follow me back. And by the way, I know that's an unpopular opinion, guys. It's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to bring it back to him, but I will for just 1 second. I ended up emailing him via his Instagram email. He added it for his work and he got right back to me. And I DM'd you a while ago and he's like, he doesn't check those, but agreed. If you're single, go on the page and just do a little mail thing on one of their, comment on it. So they'll check it.
Or hit up the email that some people attach to their Instagram.
Bingo.
Because if they're not following you and you send them a DM, it's all dependent on the person.
And sometimes those disappear. I try to respond to a lot of people that respond to the podcast, Steve, and then sometimes they're there and then sometimes they just disappear. It's like the craziest thing. So, but I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I got to go help Umberto with the kids.
Yeah, no, it's been an hour. Perfect.
I'm on borrowed time. I gotta go get my stuffing going.
We're exactly 1 hour in. This was longer than I thought it was going to be. So fine. We're good.
I love chatting with you, and I'm thankful for our friendship. Would you come on my show sometime soon?
Sure. Of course. Anytime. We are so happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Tell Umberto I said hi. And we will obviously be in touch. Have a great Thanksgiving. And
gobble, gobble.
Anytime you want me on, just bring me on. Let me know and I'll come on. So anyway, thanks again, Courtney. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Adios, guys. Bye.